Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA. I make videos for NFL. All these videos, they get posted on this subreddit right here. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout of the day. You can ask me questions about the slate, pretty much anything you need. I will be here up to lock, sometimes after lock as well. So that'll be linked down below. Um, and yeah, wasn't too much news today besides the Denver news. Made the update there, and then if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me right here on Twitter, or Reddit Messenger, either or. It doesn't really matter. Those will be linked down below. So let's get into my lineup from tonight. It's had a good night. Losing or kind of break even. NFL cashed, main slate cashed, but I got destroyed on night slate, destroyed on showdown. So like kind of a break even day, but the main slate did well. That's what we cover. Um, and yeah, before we get into my lineup, if you are interested in joining my Discord, where you get core plays from me, I give you a core of 4 players to play, private videos going over each slate. I'm in Discord 24/7, night slate content, night slate cores, showdown cores, pretty much every slate. That'll be linked down below as well. So my thought process for this slate, I mean, once we got the Denver news of Jokic being out, it was just slam Denver, right? It was just slam Denver. What was my core today? My core was DeAndre Jordan. He nuked. What else? Joel Embiid, core play for me. He nuked. Kate Cunningham, core play for me. He nuked. And then Peyton Watson was a core play for me. He did really well too. So my thinking for Peyton Watson over Justin Holiday as a core play was because Justin Holiday was projecting for like 60% ownership or something, and that was not the case. He came in about the same ownership as Watson. If I would have knew that, then I probably would have just made Justin Holiday a core play. But yeah, they came in the same ownership, so that was my reasoning for Watson over Holiday. Watson definitely a better producer than Holiday as well. Thought he would play decent minutes off of the bench. So that was the reasoning there. And then Reggie Jackson was one of the best players on the slate. He was in my lineup, and then unfortunately Jordan Poole and Michael Porter Jr. sank my lineup, but was lucky enough to get into the cash for today. Hopefully you guys slammed all of the Denver value. And then my night slate core absolutely nuked as well. Night slate core was Reggie Jackson, Justin Holiday, uh, Reggie, Holiday, DeAndre Jordan, and then Michael Porter Jr., I think. I'm not entirely sure. But let's go over this. This slate's really, really good. I love this slate. So let's go over it. Big news we have to keep an eye out here is Zach LaVine is going to be questionable. You guys know what I'm going to say here. If LaVine is in, I don't love much. LaVine, DeMar, Vooch, they're all playable for tournaments, but this matchup, it's a tough one. So probably going to take a pass on the main 3 Bulls if they are all in. If you're playing like large field tournaments and stuff like that, yeah, you can take shots on them. You guys know my favorite is always the one who's the cheapest, but specifically individually wise, they're all in pretty tough spots. So I guess if I had to pick, DeMar might be my favorite. I don't know. It's tough. They're all playable, but more of large field tournament plays for me. I don't think I'm going to be going out of my way to play any of these guys on this slate if they're all in. Kobe White seems priced right. I'm not going to get to the value either. But if LaVine is out, then DeRozan looks good. Vooch looks good. Still no priorities to me with all the really, really good plays on this slate, but they would look solid. These 2 guys will lead the way offensively and have to do everything for this team and also play big minutes. The only risk would be potential blowout because the Chicago Bulls are just god awful. But yeah, would like DeMar, would like Vooch. Kobe White gets a usage bump, he would be fine. The wings, they would get a usage bump, minutes bump. Patrick Williams would be a fair to okay value. And then don't love much else. I don't think I'll be going to anyone else. So let's move on to Boston. So Derek White is probable. Drew Holiday is questionable. So we'll go over it both ways. Chicago, they play pretty slow, so pace-wise, it's not the best spot. But yeah, Tatum Brown, if everyone's in, more just contrarian plays for me. I think, other spend-ups on the slate, I do give the edge to guys like, Luka, um, who else? Even spending down for like, Julius Randle, Sengun, Fred Van Fleet. I think, all these guys look a little bit better point per dollar. I think Siakam looks good. I really like Brunson, etc. So wouldn't be priorities, but I think, Tatum would be a solid spend up. Brown would be priced right if Drew's in. Drew himself would be priced right. Derek White, I would say, would be a little bit overpriced. And then I probably wouldn't go to any of this value. Now, if Drew is out, that does change some things. Then, I think Tatum looks like a pretty good spend up. Would like him quite a bit. Jaylen Brown would like his upside in tournaments. I think the guy that would stand out to me the most would be Derek White, who would have to play close to 40 minutes. He's going to have the ball in his hands an absolute ton. His floor goes up, his ceiling goes up, playmaking goes up. I still think 6'9" would still be a little bit too cheap for him, so I would like White quite a bit. We'll see what they do with the starting lineup. So I don't know why they didn't start Sam Hauser last game. Still played 32 minutes off the bench. If they do start Hauser, I do like him for value. If they start Banton, he is a playable value as well. Got into a bit of foul trouble. He would have played a little bit more here. Not the worst producer in the world. So yeah, whoever they start, I think is solid value. And then Pritchard will get run off the bench, but I think he's priced right. So keep an eye on that. Drew news, definitely something we have to keep an eye on there. Toronto at Brooklyn. So Scotty Barnes, I mean, kind of came back down to earth from the start from earlier in the season. I'm not sure why he only played 33 minutes here and 33 minutes here, both in competitive games, not in foul trouble either. Something to keep an eye on, but yeah, more just a contrarian play for me right now. I think I'd much rather get to Pascal Siakam, who's just playing close to 40 minutes a game right now, stuffing the stat sheet. So I think Siakam's solid at that price point. Schroeder, just there for me. Jakob Poeltl at 6K. You guys know what I'm going to say with him. Where is Precious? Was he out last game? 11:26. He was not, because Poeltl still played huge minutes last game, but that was up against Cleveland. So I'd be a little bit careful here with Jakob Poeltl. So on the Brooklyn side, we do have Nicholas Claxton questionable. If he is out, Poeltl becomes a lot more riskier than people think. Brooklyn, they like to go small when Claxton's out, so I would just be a little bit careful. If Claxton is out on the other side of this game, then Poeltl becomes risky. If Claxton is in, I definitely feel better about his minutes, but Brooklyn still does go small sometimes with Claxton in. So just be a little bit careful with Poeltl, but if he's low owned in tournaments, then I always like his upside because minutes have been ticking up. He's a really good producer. So interesting tournament play for me, but I would just keep an eye on that Claxton news. OG, no thank you. Gary Trent, I mean, prices come down. We know he's going to chuck off the bench, probably plays low 20s minutes. Has a ceiling when he's hitting his shots, so he's always intriguing for tournaments. I could definitely get behind some Gary Trent on this slate now that the prices finally come down to 4K. I don't think I'd be going to anyone else, though. Let's move on to Brooklyn. So Cam Thomas doubtful. We have Claxton questionable, and we have Cam Johnson probable. So if Claxton's in, I think what I say, yeah, if Claxton's in, I think Bridges, Dinwiddie, both find tournament plays for me, not standouts to me, but Bridges, Dinwiddie, they're playing huge minutes of late, so Bridges kind of the higher ceiling between the two. I would say Spencer Dinwiddie has the higher floor, doing a bit of more of the ball handling. But earlier in the season, he wasn't playing big minutes, and I don't know if the field has really recognized that he is just playing massive minutes right now. So I do prefer Dinwiddie to Bridges point per dollar. I think Dinwiddie is fine. I don't love the spot going up against Toronto either. This game just feels like a snooze fest to me. If Claxton's in, he's playable. I think I prefer Poeltl on the other side of this game. If Claxton plays, Lonnie Walker just completely overpriced. I don't understand that. And then Cam Johnson, he got injured last game due to a strain, I want to say, and he got pulled, never came back. Also playing huge minutes when he just doesn't randomly get injured. I think he's pretty safe. And then Royce Dorian, if Claxton's in, I wouldn't get to. Same with Sharp, Watford, those guys. Now, if Cam Johnson is out, then they're probably going to start Dorian Finney-Smith at the 5. I believe that's what they did last game. Yeah. Bridges, Dinwiddie, they would both still be fine. I think I prefer Dinwiddie. And then, Royce O'Neal, I think is still priced right, but feels fine. Like, just there for me is like a filler play. Dorian would just be fine, filler play. But then, like, the values would be interesting to me. Like, Day'Ron Sharpe is an elite fantasy producer. He would be an interesting tournament play for me because when he does get the minutes, he can smash like this. Sometimes they are going to Watford as well, another pretty good fantasy producer. So if you're playing like more large field tournament stuff, I would definitely get some Sharp or Watford exposure in your lineups. If you're playing like 150 lineups, you could definitely get to Sharp in single entry too. I don't mind that at all, actually. But yeah, keep an eye on that. I think those two guys would be pretty interesting if Claxton is out. Atlanta, Cleveland, so tough spot here. Not much here. Probably one of my least favorite teams to target on the slate. Jalen Johnson's going to continue to be out. Trey Murray, just filler plays for me, more tournament plays for me up against Cleveland. DeAndre Hunter has been absolutely nuking. Sadiq Bey got in foul troubles. That's why he played 40 minutes. I think, if people want to chase, that's fine. He's 6K, and I don't think I'll be paying 6K for Hunter. Bogey's priced right. Clint Capella, Okongwu, these two guys will split the center minutes, just giving me Okongwu over Capella, but even then, I don't think either stand out either. And then Sadiq Bey got into foul trouble last game. Should play low to mid 30s minutes. Might be my favorite play on Atlanta, but there's just not much here. Let's move on to Cleveland. Not much here either. Like, Donovan Mitchell feels priced about right. It's funny watching this Cavs team. It's just Donovan Mitchell, just like it's just the biggest ball hog I've ever seen. It's just hilarious. The offense without Donovan Mitchell on the court runs so smoothly, and they run it through everyone. And then like when Donovan Mitchell's on the court, it's literally just him with the ball. It's absolutely crazy. It's funny to watch. But yeah, it doesn't stand out to me. Evan Mobley doesn't stand out to me. Garland's priced right. Struce priced right. I will say Jared Allen minutes have been upticking. Looks like he's off kind of his limit, got into foul trouble here. We know he's a good point per minute guy, so I actually think Jared Allen's a pretty solid play at 6'4". I think he's a bit underpriced, so I do like me some Jared Allen. I won't be going to anyone else, though. Let's move on to Milwaukee. Not a good spot here, so Giannis, I mean, he's always in play. It's Giannis. I just don't love the spot here, but fine, playable. Dame, pricey for me. Brook Lopez, a bit pricey for me. We'll keep an eye on the Middleton news. If he's out, it's bumps to guys like Marjan, Pat Connaughton. They would be playable values. I think I prefer Pat to Marjan. Malik Beasley, I'd feel better about him closing games, and when he does hit his shots, he does have this type of ceiling. So I think Beasley would be interesting to solid if Middleton's out. Portis is priced right. So yeah, Milwaukee just not the most appealing team on the slate. Miami, so we'll keep an eye on the news here. Bam probable, Butler questionable, Duncan is probable, Highsmith is questionable. If everyone's in, I'll probably just be fading Miami. Like I think Bam's overpriced with everyone in. Butler priced right. Although I guess I'd have interest in Butler. I think 8-3 is reasonable up against Milwaukee. Duncan will be priced right. Jackets will be priced right. Pretty unappealing. Everyone would just be priced right. Now, if we get Butler and Highsmith out again, then I think we could have some plays here. Like Bam would have to do everything for the team, although not the best matchup. Also priced up as well, so like wouldn't be anywhere near someone I'd go out of my way to play. And then Duncan, he would just be fine. I still think he'd be priced right. I think my favorite play would be Jack as a 5'4". He's going to have to play big minutes, stat sheet stuffer. I think he'd be very, very safe in the mid range, so I would like some Jack as. Kyle Lowry, he'll get a usage bump, would be solid, I think, at 5'1". And then Jay Rich will get 8 minutes in usage bump as well. I think he'd be a pretty good value of 4.72. And then Caleb Martin will get a minutes bump. He would be a fine value as well. So keep an eye on that. Kevin Love, he'll play high teens minutes, good point per minute guy, playable for large field tournaments if you need the value. All right, so this is one of my favorite games to target. LaMelo is doubtful, so I assume Brandon Miller will start. So looks like Terry Rozier is not going to have a limit. So with no LaMelo, there's just a ton of usage to go around here. I really like Rozier. I think Bridges is a solid play. Hayward's going to get more usage. He's fine. Brandon Miller is okay. But I really like both the top two guys here in Rozier and Bridges. Mark Williams, I think is priced right. Really bad matchup going up against the Knicks. Like I said, Hayward's priced right. Miller's solid at 5'6". I think I'd rank them point per hour like Rozier, Bridges, Miller. I don't love much else though, but really like Rozier and Bridges there at the top with no LaMelo. New York, so probably one of my favorite teams to target as far as the spend-ups go. I think Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson both look phenomenal. I absolutely love both in a pace-up spot. Charlotte doesn't play any defense. I really like both Randle and Brunson on this slate. I also like RJ Barrett quite a bit, up and down, but when he is hitting his shots, he does have an insane ceiling. This is the type of matchup where you could see him put up like 20-plus shots and just absolutely nuke. I really like RJ. I think quickly is an okay value. We know he's going to chuck off the bench. And then Mitchell Robinson, man, price came down. Really good spot up against Charlotte. I think we get low 30s minutes as long as he stays out of foul trouble. He should be able to feast here. I like Mitchell Robinson quite a bit. I don't think I'll be getting to any of the value, though. Let's move on to OKC. Not the best spot. Minnesota, in my opinion, one of the best defensive teams in the league, or probably the best defensive team in the league. Up there with, actually, let's take a look. This is what I use for, pace and defensive rating, guys. Just NBA.com. I know you guys ask me a lot. Yeah, they're second. Rockets 1 right now. So SGA, more just contrarian play for me. Don't like the spot at all for Chet, so I'll probably fade there. Giddey's minutes been all over the place, taking down of late. Hard to go there. Jalen Williams at 5'9". I mean, with Giddey's minutes ticking down, Jalen Williams' role and usage goes up. So I think he's interesting for tournaments, kind of sneaky. Lou Dort, I mean, he's playable, just being not taking any shots. Don't love much else. So pretty unappealing there. Let's go over the Timberwolves. So Ant's okay, Cat's okay, Gobert just fine. Mike Conley priced right. McDaniels is out, so you're going to get NAW starting. I mean, he'll play the minutes. He's really low usage in this lineup, but playable value. Naz Reid, I always talk about him. If one of Gobert or Cat get into foul trouble, he'll benefit. He's really, really good point per minute. So there are outs to Naz Reid playing a decent chunk of minutes. So I'll always mention him for tournaments if you need the value as someone who is playable. He'll be in the rotation, obviously, anyway. All right, last set of games here, guys. Houston at Dallas. So Fred VanVleet is probable. Look, I think everyone's probable. Yeah, they're all probable. So, I mean, good spot up against Dallas, and Houston's running one of the most tightest rotations I've ever seen in the regular season so far. Second, Fred VanVleet is playing absolutely insane minutes right now. If you want to play either, I'm not going to say no. I think both look solid. Jalen Green playing huge minutes. Does have a ceiling when he's hitting his shots. I don't mind him. Jabari Smith, minutes upticking. I think he's fine. What else? Dylan Brooks, if you want to go there, it's okay. Jason Tate, Tari Eason, they're getting rotational run. Both good point per minute guys. They're okay values. So I like this Houston team quite a bit. Dallas, not a good spot going up against Houston. Houston's really good defensively. But it's Luka. He's always a good spend up on any slate. I think Kyrie's priced right. Don't love much else. Let's move on to Golden State. It's just Steph at the top. Fine tournament play. I won't be touching anyone else here. Pretty quickly here, guys, to the last games. And then Sacramento. I like Sabonis for tournaments. I think you should just be able to feast here. Fox, I think, is priced right. I think I'd rather just play Sabonis. And then if Keegan Murray's out, you're going to get Duarte starting. He's a solid value. And don't love much else. So that's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. Hope you guys had a good night tonight, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one.